growing weary of running from room to room, practicing one-tooth insurance-driven dentistry? Then stay tuned for the latest episode of The Lionhearted, where Dr. Stephen Rasner will hand you the blueprint for what many call the gold standard of general practice dentistry.
Hi everyone, this is Dr. Steve Rasner, and you are tuned in to another episode of The Lionhearted, a podcast dedicated to those dentists that want independence. And if this is the first time you've ever tuned in to my podcast, I call it The Lionhearted because it requires the courage of a lion and the heart of a lion to reach independence today. And I've been doing these podcasts for a little over a year now. And I appreciate those of you that continue to email me from time to time to inspire me. And while I'm on that subject, you can reach me at my email, which is pretty easy and laughable to some. It's my name, Dr. D.R. Rasner, R-A-S-N-E-R at AOL. That's why it's laughable. So let me get right to the point. I really try to, before I get on these podcasts, I try to picture you guys driving somewhere that you have a very limited amount of time, and what is it I can bring to the table that is worthy? And trust me, you try doing these every week alone. And that, has been my choice. I could have guests, and I've told you I will have guests in 2020. But I try to think, what is it I could say today that's worthy, even if it's just a couple gems. And I'm going to talk briefly on this one. Don't turn me off when I say this. I'm going to talk a little bit about social media. And the reason I'm going to talk about social media is because I brought it up on my last podcast. And I think I got the attention of a lot of my colleagues, or some of you anyway. And if you looked at that podcast, you would have heard me say, don't measure yourself by going online. What do I mean? On Facebook or other chat room sites or joining groups and seeing, especially Facebook, and seeing isolated posts of an amazing case somebody did. And credit and kudos to the guys that do some of these cases. But let's be real here, man. That is why you're tuned in to me. I've been doing this 39 years, and I could fill up a bunch of posts on Facebook that I think would be eye-popping to you about the high level of the outcome of the restorative or the surgical case I did. I could also fill up a lot of Facebook posts with cases that didn't come out so good, that blew my mind. And you don't know if these cases were sent back or done for free on a relative. You don't know any of that stuff. That the patient that they showed couldn't begin to afford the 17 surgeries it required to get to the outcome. And if I sound a little bitter, it's because I detect a little BS. And I really want to say more than BS right now in some of the posts I read. So don't measure yourself by that. Learn in the informative circles that allow that foster that, and if you get involved with some of, I tell you, if it was me, and it happened to me, by the way, I went on a couple forums just innocently posting a couple thoughts, and man, and some of them were big named forums on Facebook. There is a lot of toxicity. There's a lot of pent up anger out there, man. And this world, I'm trying to invite you into, the world of remaining independent in the field of dentistry. And isn't that a challenge today? I mean, damn right it is, man. It's going to be 2020 in 3 weeks. And the corporation impact in the United States is never going back the other way. I just can't believe how many dentists are no longer independent. It's stunning to me. And you're talking to a guy that's done this 39 years, 65 years old. And I've been very straight up with you and honest during this year. I've told you when I've had weeks that just absolutely were terrible. And I had done on those weeks, it seemed to me anyway, the same things I had done in prior weeks that were phenomenal. But over the course of a year, and I'm just an impatient guy, but over the course of a year, it all works out with the blueprint I'm trying to impart to many of you that listen to me. I mean, remember, the only possible agenda that anybody could accuse me of is that I make myself visible to you guys, and some of you end up taking my courses. And it's, if that's the reason I'm doing this for 1 year plus now, then there's got to be a better way. I'm doing it because I think it gives me an impact to a probably small segment of colleagues out there. So let me not get off the track. There's no doubt about that in 2020 that social media, unlike 20 years ago, is very much a part of some of your success. And I want to elaborate on that, and I'll be very precise and succinct. I mean, I'm going to talk about what you should do, in my opinion, and what you shouldn't do. Okay? So let's start with that. Let me talk first about Facebook. I had 300 followers for about 5 years. And if you went on Offices of Dr. Stephen L. Rasner, you will see that I have 20,000. It might even be more than that. It's fluctuated now in the last couple years between 20 and 22,000 or whatever. And I want to say right in the beginning a couple things. I am no expert in the world of social media. I am imparting to you in this podcast what has worked for me, what I thought was worth it, what I don't think is worth it. Okay? So stay with me. And how did I get from a few hundred to 20,000? This is how I did it. First of all, I stopped relying on somebody in my office to make the post to put us in the pulse of the community of whoever was watching us on Facebook. In other words, for those 5 years, I asked Barbara or Debbie or whoever worked for me to post weekly or daily, and it just never worked out. And I've known a lot of you now for a long time from doing the speaking for 21 years. By the way, you can follow where I'm going to be in 2020 at rasnerinstitute.com. So, and it never worked out. Like I would get posts for a week or two or three. And isn't it true, guys, that we just get so distracted by juggling all the plates that we have to juggle to remain independent in dentistry? There's so many things that need attention, and social media is one of them. So here is the caveat. Here's the takeaway. Hire somebody from maybe one of your patients. That's what I would say. In the course of a week, you come across a dialogue with 50, 100 patients? Well, some of them are at home. They'd rather be working, but maybe they have children and they're IT savvy and you're not. So that's what I did. I began by hiring one of my patients who began posting for us. And when you go on my Facebook page, I'm not even aware of half the things that ended up get posted. Meaning that this person, when she got started, understood what I wanted and didn't want, would maybe interview and get a picture of different staff members, and we would introduce that. That never got done before. That's one thing. So one thing that happened was daily current post that after the person I hired to do this understood what I was after, because you don't want somebody putting on corny jokes all the time that don't emulate your personality or that would never come out of your mouth. So, what do I want? Well, I want the community to know my staff. That's part of it. But more importantly, really what we did is we went after our patients and asked them to post to like us on Facebook. And we had these posters in our waiting reception room and in the hygiene rooms that, 8 by 10 or maybe a little bit bigger, that said, like us on Facebook and get a gift at the front desk. And, the gift's ridiculous. It's lip balm, hand wash, desensitizer, whatever, nothing little gifts. But we also had a raffle for a beer or wine basket that was also at the front desk. I mean, I'm telling you the truth. I'm not going to give you some amazing thing I did. This is what I did. But I did one more thing. We had contests 2 or 3 times a year I'm in the Philadelphia area. So those people that liked us on Facebook their names would be put into a jar. And at the end of the month, a name would be selected. And we've given everything away from professional basketball tickets to professional football tickets. The investment is every bit of $500. The contest might be a smile contest. Send us your best smile and stuff like that. And we would have it from 4 to 8 weeks. And we've done different things like that. So that is what I used to get from the 300 or 400 to the 20,000 Facebook likes. So I'll repeat 3 things. I hired somebody outside my office. We didn't pay an enormous amount of money. I don't think you have to, because it's free money. I mean, not free money, but it's easy money for somebody who maybe can't get out of the home and get in the workplace and likes doing social media. I guarantee you have patients like this. So just look for them and make that a goal for 2020. That all being said, this is going to be a weird thing to say to you. I don't know how much it matters. I mean, yes, so when a new patient sits down with me, I said, so where did you find us? I can't tell you that there's a significant number that says, oh, I saw you on Facebook and I love all your posts. So, but it's too easy of a forum to help you communicate and be visible in your community. So I would say you have to do it. Okay. Another thing that I'm going to talk about, and that would be, of course, your Google reviews. And again, I'm not an expert, but I'm going to blow your mind. And I'm going to do this on purpose because it blew my mind. So you ready for this? Somebody solicited us to help us with our Google search position. I'm sure you get them as much as I do. And for whatever reason, the most recent one had us look at our own Google reviews. You ready? So I have 2 offices. I have my original office that's only 15 minutes from where I'm at now, where I've been for 12 years. And I really don't go to that office anymore, and I haven't been for years. And then I have my present office, that's 15 minutes away. That's in Vineland, New Jersey. So when we went on and looked, can you imagine this? I've been in practice for 39 years. Google's been a thing for what, 15 years? I don't know. I had 3 reviews with 3-point-some stars in my Bridgeton office. And I had 14 reviews in my Vineland office. That is unacceptable in my office or your office. And by the way, I hired a company 5 years ago to help do it. But I think what happened is it was such an archaic process. It was so awkward and clumsy to go to the patient and then what they had to do at that time. First of all, you don't need to hire a company, in my opinion. There's an old saying that I like, and the saying is this: leap and the net will appear. Leap and the net will appear. And what that means is when you go in a certain direction, and you stick to that direction, you manifest results that wouldn't have happened, whether it's your weight or whether it's Google reviews. So in 1 week, of course, I went ballistic when I realized what was going on. Because remember, I had paid a company. I thought I fixed it. I mean, I know I go off track, but isn't that the most want to pull your hair out thing about what we do? You think, look, we don't just fix teeth, guys, right? We're in a business. And in that business requires you to do so many little things. And then one of those little things 5 years ago for me was paying attention to my Google reviews. And then, you get caught up in life and you forget about it months and certainly years later. And I thought it was fixed. It's not on my to-do list every day to check it. I know you can feel me. It's a lot of you. And so anyway, in 1 week, we went from 14 to 69 and 3 to, I believe, 40 something in the other office. So what I did for that, again, I'm not an expert on the best way to do this. I told my staff how unacceptable this was, and I needed the enlistment of all of them to help me. I always say to my staff when we're in a slump, I can't send you out on the street and dress up like a tooth and wave cars in. But you can do your job excellently every day so people will talk about us. I say that a lot. Don't clock in. Give me your real best effort of everything I've taught you in the time you've been with me, from people skills to clinical skills, etc. But I was wrong. Your team can really help your practice by enlisting patients to send in Google reviews. And what we do is we go for the low-lying fruit, as they say. You know when you go to work next week, the patients that love you, that always they feel fortunate that they've come to your office. So now I said, I say this. I don't know if this helps you or this is mundane to you, but it was an eye-opener to me this week. So I say to the patient, I don't know if you know this today, but today's marketing for a lot of businesses is reviews and Google reviews. And of course, everybody seems to know that except me. Because why would I only have 3 and 14 in 2 different offices? Because I didn't check on it, that's why. Anyway, we get their phone. We use their phone. And we go on Google Maps. And I'm serious, I don't know if this is... Everybody knows this, but after having 2 or 3 strategies, this is a strategy that's the most direct. You go on their phone, on Google Maps. They do not need a Google account. They need Google Maps, not just Maps. Google Maps. They put in your office, up comes a review, bam. And it does help if they say 1 or 2 or 3 lines. If they just give you 5 stars, it doesn't replace the older ones. So that's my wrap on Google review. And we experienced that this week. So now that I'm giving you my parameters on what I would get involved in and maybe what I would not get involved with, and I have to say, I might be wrong about what I'm about to say, but I noticed that a lot of young offices spend what seems to me like an inordinate amount of time developing these vignettes that they post on Facebook. Cute vignettes, like who can do a knee bend against the wall the longest, or just an amazing wide array of cute little things that your hope will pique the attention of your community and bring patients to you. If it was me, and maybe I'm just getting really old school, I would first, if you have time after you do what I'm about to tell you to do, then do your cute little vignettes. Okay, because I think what happens with that is they do draw some patients, but it's beyond the scope of one podcast to tell you the following. And the following for me is, I want quality patients, or patients that I believe have the potential to want quality work in their mouth. So there's a lot of patients in your community and my community who don't have quality work in their mouth, that was never educated enough by a dentist to see the light. Isn't it extraordinary to you? Because it is to me. How many patients I meet of upper level socioeconomic backgrounds, in other words, they have money, they have education, and they have just a deplorable upper right central crown that they seem to be okay with. And some of them have a collapsed roller coaster dentition because of a lack of replacement of teeth in their lifetime, and extrusion has resulted in just a ridiculous, it's not going to do them in. They're going to keep their teeth. And some of these patients, even after you educate them, and don't forget what LD Pankey said and what Dawson said, those of you that know who I'm talking about, that part of being a great master dentist is being an educator. And it's so true. When I heard that 30 years ago, I didn't realize how true that was. Because you educate your patient in a proactive way. And even if they don't buy into it, you've done the right thing. You know, the problem, and I know I'm off track here, but it seems relevant right now. The problem in our profession that they don't experience in dermatology and sometimes in internal medicine offices is our symptoms remain silent, right? How many people do you have come to you that tell you, other than bleeding gums, that they think they're losing bone and they have gum disease because it doesn't hurt? Or how many patients of yours have multiple root canals or missing teeth? All of them almost. And so what if those symptoms, what if those teeth were treated, that's my philosophy. What if those teeth were treated before they became so advanced with what was going on that they didn't need to lose a tooth and they didn't even need a root canal? So I'm saying this to you because my basic premise, it's funny, I have come completely full cycle in my 39-year career. And I'm here to tell you that one of the reasons I believe I've had such a good run is because I believe that what they believed 75 years ago, the people that were really in touch with the clinicians, I can imagine how unique this clinician must have been in the 1940s and 50s and 60s. And certainly Dawson was around and LD Pankey was around and understood even back then that if you educate the patient and you have earnest intention of providing the best possible care, whether it was 1950 or 2020, that if you did that, you would have long-term success. And I know that may not resonate with everybody listening to me, but I will tell you, to me, that works a lot better than spending hours and hours on trying to attract patients with gadgets and funny things you do on videos. I know, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I'm being just as honest and patent right here as I can be. But what I would do with that time, first, is I would educate my staff on how to make patients that come in your door feel value. It is not acceptable that a sterilization assistant that walks down one of your hallways, who in her mind may not have the type of job that requires her to interact with patients, but that is not the case. It's not the case at the Ritz-Carlton or Four Seasons. When the guy in the window is cleaning the hallway windows in one of those hotels, you better believe if you walk by, he makes eye contact with you, as well as do the people that take care of your room, and looks at you and says something that they've been taught to say. Hey, have a pleasant day. Have a great day. Good morning. Good afternoon, whatever it is. That's on the lowest level, but certainly on the greeters that see your patients when they come in. Do you have a protocol for that? Do you have a protocol for making sure that your employees review, your hygienist, your assistants, the particulars of that patient's history, that they just went on vacation, or they just had a baby, or they just had a surgery? That's what I would train my staff in. And then if you have all that down, then go ahead and make your videos. I don't know if this is coming across as clear as I want it to be, but here's the complete cliff notes of this particular podcast. Yes, 2020 is way past the time where you cannot ignore your presence on social media. And I haven't even gotten into, because I'm not worthy of telling you about Instagram and Snap or whatever the names are. If you have the fundamentals down, and you can do both at the same time, by the way. Fundamentals mean you are in training. You are spending time every year to enhance your clinical mastery of dentistry. And it is improving. And by the way, that should be your stick. That should be your measuring stick for whether you're doing you're getting better and better. Not some guy's post on Facebook. Look at your own work. Be honest about your own work and improve it. For years and years, one of my Achilles heel, I think I'm really good at many surgical aspects and restorative aspects of dentistry. I've always tried to get better and better at the higher and advanced procedures in soft tissue, as connective tissue grafts and free gingival grafts and apically positioned flaps and things like that. And I will tell you that some of mine aren't as good as other skills that I have. That's an honest approach by me looking at my own work, not me looking at some amazing crown that some guy posted on Facebook that you don't know the backstory on that. Let your own work be your measuring stick and be honest about it. But that's what you should be doing. And then simultaneously, you should be working on creating this organization, because you're just a piece of it, that they walk into, that they feel value. I hope I didn't drive you crazy this week on going off track too much. My intention was to talk to you about the role of social media in 2020. And I think my takeaway is you certainly need to have as many Google reviews as possible. Facebook's an easy following to build up, and I explained to you how to do that in this podcast, how I did it anyway. 20,000 is not a bad number. I also told you I don't even know how important it is, other than it keeps me in touch with the community. And it doesn't cost a lot of money, so I would say use it. Anyway, I hope this helped you in one way. I'm looking forward to the next couple podcasts to get you in to a good start in 2020. Everybody have a great week. See you next week on The Lionhearted.